There are stories whispered through time, stories not found in textbooks, but felt in the bones of old cities and the silence between forgotten maps. Tartaria, a name that drifts like smoke through the centuries, neither fully myth nor fully history. Was it a lost empire, a misunderstood civilization, or simply the echo of human imagination filling in the blanks of history's great silence? Across ancient maps, the word Tartaria once stretched across the vastness of Asia, from the frozen steppes of Siberia to the great plains that brush the borders of China and Europe. It was said to be home to builders of impossible architecture, grand cities crowned with towers and domes, monuments that seemed older than their time and wiser than their builders. But somewhere along the line, Tartaria vanished, its name erased, its story dissolved. Some say it was never real. Others say it was deliberately hidden, a civilization buried beneath the edits of empire and time. There are photos of grand structures in places where there should have been none, of buildings that seem too advanced, too symmetrical, too intentional for the eras they are assigned to. You can feel something when you look at them, a quiet contradiction, as if the stones themselves are whispering, "We were here before the story began." It's easy to dismiss these theories as fantasy, but maybe, just maybe, they carry something deeper. Not the literal truth of Tartaria, but the symbolic truth it represents. Every erased name, every forgotten culture, every rewritten chapter reminds us how fragile human memory really is. History is not always a record. Sometimes it's a reflection, and the reflection depends on who's holding the mirror. The idea of Tartaria calls us to question what we accept as final. It asks, what happens to a people when their story is no longer told? And what happens to us when we stop asking those questions? Maybe Tartaria isn't a lost civilization at all. Maybe it's a mirror, showing us the gaps in our own knowing, the forgotten wisdom we once carried, and still carry, somewhere deep within. Because whether or not Tartaria existed in stone and soil, it exists in spirit, in every culture that refused to vanish, in every voice that chose to remember, in every dreamer who looks at the ruins of the world and sees possibility. So, perhaps, the real story of Tartaria isn't about the past, it's about us, and how we decide to remember. The world changes, empires rise and fall, but truth lingers, waiting for the next curious soul to listen. And maybe that listener is you.